from our side, from COP29 side, from other our partners. Now we need to call to the countries to action, to implementation.
Hello and welcome to Energy Frontiers, our new Euronews series exploring the global energy landscape. It was right here in Baku, Azerbaijan, that the COP29 UN Climate Change Conference was held late last year. And today we're talking to COP29 President Mukhtar Babayev about the diplomatic challenges that lay ahead as we move towards COP30 in Brazil. To begin with, here's a quick overview of what's at stake. A decade since the Paris Agreement was signed and the road ahead is uncertain. In January 2025, US President Trump withdrew from the climate deal again. And as Brazil prepares for COP30, developing countries want action, not promises. Poorer nations need more money to adapt to climate change and more money for low-carbon energy. Many voices are calling for an end to fossil fuel use and an end to deforestation. COP30 in November will be a fresh test of global ambition on climate change. And as the planet warms rapidly, the need for multilateral cooperation is higher than ever. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined in studio by Mukhtar Babayev, the president of COP29. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the invitation.
We've seen, of course, President Trump exit the US from the Paris Agreement again. When it comes to the COP process, what impact, what bearing does this have?
Our mission is to build the trust between the countries, between the parties, to be interconnector, to be the bridge between the countries. And in this case also we hope that the process, the climate process is multilateral process. We would like to see all countries to be to be the part of the discussions, of the negotiations, obligations, but to understand that each country possibly has own agenda. US is the big emitter, the big player on the carbon market, and I think we respect the position of United States.
From the global north to the global south, countries have different ambitions, different resources, timelines and priorities. It's a fragmented landscape at present. Do you believe that leadership when it comes to climate change is somewhat rudderless at this point?
It's not one country as the leader of the process. I think in different regions of the world, different continents, different countries take this leadership and continue this process. And we expected the continuation of the big interest of the renewable energy. Today is already visible. Today is already interesting for the private sector.
We've got the US and other producers pumping more oil than ever before. When we look at the Paris Agreement, have we lost sight of our goals and ambitions?
Today, more and more countries now invested to the green and alternative energy than to fossil fuel. And I think the process will continue. For example, in Azerbaijan, we, together with our partners, we investing a lot to the green transition. But, you know, the Azerbaijan is an oil and gas country. That's why I think the Paris Agreement is very good framework for the countries to cooperate and develop this energy transition in future.
Famously at COP29 in your speech you said that the current policies are leading us down the road to ruin, and that certain countries who are suffering most at the hands of climate change needed less paperwork, less prayers, more compassion, more action. In terms of the unmissable opportunity that COP29 presented, what's been done since then?
We agreed regarding the first time ever in UN system 300 billion of the contributions, agreed to the at least 300 billion dollars contributions to developing world, to developing countries, to assist them to move their economy to the alternative energy. Another one big decision in Baku, it was Article 6 rules agreement, and I think it is also a big chance for the private sector, good conditions for the private sector to be involved in the process of the finance. At the same time, the loss and damage fund operationalization is also, we agreed all necessity frameworks and documents to start the funding already in 2025.
Understanding that it's a continual process and focusing on the developing countries that you mentioned there, many left feeling frustrated, arguing that they didn't receive the funding, the financing needed for not only adaptation but mitigation. How do you respond to those criticisms?
You know, sometimes some skepticism we have from the different parties, but I think it is again very important decision made in Baku at COP29 give us a good fundament for the countries to collaborate. At the same time, now is our mission is continuing. That now we push the countries to perform these promises, perform these obligations. That's why this year very important.
As you look to pass the baton to Brazil for COP30, what would your advice be? What must be prioritized?
I think it's so very important and difficult time. And now the Brazilian team is under big pressure. Our focus is to very important process of the support of the least developed countries, small island development states and other developing countries, because now it's a time for the developed world, for the global north, to demonstrate this leadership and to provide necessity contributions.
I fully agree with you, to demonstrate leadership, to provide the resources. But where is the accountability, not least for the promises made in Glasgow, in Dubai, in Baku, and through to Brazil? What mechanisms are in place to make sure that these things happen?
I think the obligations of each country to perform the agreement, to perform the pledges, to perform the obligations. And I think now from our side, from COP29 side, from other our partners, now we need to call to the countries to action, to implementation. We hope that in Brazil we will have also good discussions, good outcomes, and we trying to support Brazilian team in all these preparations.
We sadly have to leave our conversation there, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you too.
Well, that's a wrap of this episode, but join me again next time on Energy Frontiers. Until then, take care and goodbye.